Well, today we bring you part two of an interview with Dr. Benjamin Ola Akande, the newest president of Westminster College in Fulton, Missouri, and the first African to lead the liberal arts college. He talks about tuition cost and affordability and the challenges of living in the United States. Viewers, Mariama Diallo has more with Dr. Akande.
Let me touch on one more question about Westminster. What is the tuition cost before I move on to other?
Our tuition cost at Westminster is about $20,000. And one of the things that we're very clear about is affordability. Close to 98% of our students are scholarshiped. And so we provide an opportunity for our students to be able to afford our education.
Well, I wish I went to Westminster back in the days when I came. The tuitions were...
You can still come for
well, maybe I'll go for my PhD this time and I won't have to pay as much. Well, very quickly, it's a long way from Nigeria, and I just want to take you back to, first of all, ask you how long you've been here, and do you remember the first day?
I came to the U.S. on August the 24th, 1979.
Wow, you remember the exact day and year?
Exactly. It was a Boeing 747 flight that came in from Lagos into JFK. And you know, as the plane approached the tarmac, and what was interesting was I began to hum the song by Frank Sinatra, New York, New York. Remember that song still in the news? I'm living today. And I want to be a part of it. I mean, I was thinking, okay, all that music in which I was trying to put in place the description of this remarkable place called New York, but I was here. I was finally here, and that was a very unique experience for me. And then just landing and going through customs and all the pictures and all the movies and all the shows that I've seen about America sort of kind of came to fruition.
30-something years later, what would you say have been, I'll start with the challenges.
The challenge for me has been trying to get to know this place and to really go out and meet Americans and meet them where they are and not pass any judgment calls. And spend a lot of time in Texas, in Oklahoma, in sort of the conservative bed of the United States, and learned a lot about value systems, about hard work, about being open, about being vulnerable, and not allowing anybody to define your reality. And staying grounded on who you are and the values that came from how you were raised. So that's the conflicting aspect of being in this country.
Do you feel still like an immigrant, or do you feel actually that you are an American?
Oh my gosh, I'm still an immigrant. My accent speaks it clearly. I've tried as much as possible to maintain that. People can pick that up really quick. You meet them, you introduce yourself to them, and say, where are you from? And I tell them, well, I'm from Nigeria, and but I've been here a while. So that's kept me very grounded.
Was that a dream to come to the United States?
Oh my gosh, the dream come true. I remember watching Sesame Street as a kid, and watching Big Bird and all these diverse characters on Sesame Street, and how they all kind of find a way to get along with each other and live harmoniously in this wonderful street. And I thought, man, maybe that's what America is all about. And when you come here, you find that that's an ideal, but it's an ideal that we're currently and constantly striving for. But yeah, it is a dream that came true,
Well, you talked about being grounded, trying to be grounded in also your culture. How do you do that? Do you get to go back home? Or are you still in touch with some of your extended family and close family as well?
For me, that's a really good question, because for me, being grounded is always going home. I try to go home at least every year, or sometimes multiple times a year. And when I go home, I go home. I mean, I'm there, I put on the outfits, I put on my hat, I slip into my flip-flops, and I'm walking
flip-flops. I take flip-flops everywhere I go. That's the first thing I pack.
You got to have your flip-flops, and so I would walk the neighborhood. I would seek out my friends, the folks that I grew up with, and when I'm there with them, I'm not the president of an institution. I'm that good old boy that we grew up together, and we laughed together, and we faced some challenges and overcame together. And every time I go home and I come back to the United States, I am rejuvenated. If I feel like I got a shot in the arm, you know, and it gives me the kind of strength and courage to keep on keeping on.
Well, before I let you go, I wanted to touch on two things. Nigeria has been amazing this year, holding democratic elections, and that made a lot of noise. And not just Nigeria, but other countries are emulating in Africa. We've seen a lot of positive things happening.
Africa is going through a very quiet revolution. And it's not being done through guns and coups d'etat as we've seen in the past. It is a revolution of conscience. It is a revolution of accountability. It's taking place in Nigeria. It's taking place all over the continent. But one thing is this: for the last 10, 20, 30 years, all we had was hope. But I hope that for the next 20 to 25 years, we'll have results, we'll have prosperity, we'll have transformation.